Welcome back to the Generational Investors Podcast, where we explore the timeless principles of building lasting wealth. I'm your host, John Woodard III, and we are back this week with one of our favorite advisors, Mr. Todd Center, CFP. He is here to join us this week with a new topic, one that we believe all our clients and anyone just in the field really can benefit from, but it's just talking about the wealth transfer, dealing with beneficiaries and what the role of beneficiaries is, and as an account owner, what you can be doing to make that process smooth. Yeah. And because that's something, I mean, you've definitely with a lot of experience with clients and whatnot, it's not a very, easy topic to talk about, but it's
right.
crucial.
So it comes at the worst time, right? Death. And that's how accounts transfer when people inherit an account from their spouse or from their parents or from a brother or sister, whatever the case may be, friends. We've seen it all here, and so it's a delicate process from the standpoint of the emotions that are involved, and here's somebody's wealth that you were close to, you had a relationship with. And now you, as the beneficiary, are inheriting that wealth. Mm-hmm. There could be their life savings, everything they worked for. Typically, if it's a parent, something like that, And so there's that component. So that's the beneficiary. That's who receives the assets. Now, but it starts with the account owner before they die. Mm-hmm. And so as account owners. We all have investment accounts. In the state of North Carolina, we can assign beneficiaries. We always assign them to retirement accounts. IRAs, Roth IRAs, 401ks. Those always have that beneficiary clause in there, which is great from a tax standpoint, from a wealth transfer standpoint. But I don't remember exactly when it was. I'm guessing it was about 10 or 12, 13 years ago in North Carolina. They passed a law and basically allows account owners, bank accounts, investment accounts, brokerage accounts, what we would call after-tax accounts. Non-qualified is another term, right? Non-retirement accounts. Mm-hmm. In North Carolina now, these can pass by transfer on death. TOD, and you hear that phrase a lot. Other states, it might be called POD, payment on death. And I think
they mean the same thing.
Same thing, yeah. I think in South Carolina, Georgia is POD, North Carolina is TOD, same thing. What that means is, as the account owner, just like with your IRA or your 401k, you can assign a beneficiary for your brokerage account, your non-qualified brokerage account. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of tax benefits to that with the stepped-up cost basis to the beneficiary. And so it's really a great estate planning tool to take advantage of. And bank accounts, too.
That makes sense. So a lot of people, when they think about death and just having everything moved to the beneficiaries, is thinking about writing up a will, and they think that the will can handle everything. Just when you die, it can move through. So what exactly would be the benefits of doing this TOD or POD, and what are some mistakes that people do with just thinking that writing up a will is the best option?
A will is definitely important. You got to have a will, and those documents are extremely important. However, a beneficiary designation on a retirement account or on a non-qualified account in the form of a TOD, transfer on death, is more powerful than a will in the state of North Carolina. It supersedes a will. It's basically contract law is at its core, and that's how it transfers. If you remember back in your business law class, mm-hmm. That's how they taught us, right? It basically is contract law. So much like a trust, a judge is not going to overturn trust. A judge is not going to overturn a beneficiary assignment unless there are some really sticky, extenuating circumstances. So that can be, but beneficiary assignments are basically set in stone.
Okay, and so a will might cause the accounts or whatnot to go into probate.
Right. Two things with the will. One, if the will is handling the assets, it's going to go through probate. So that's a whole nother.
Just a brief definition of what probate is.
Probate basically through the estate settling process as per the probate courts in the state of North Carolina. And so, it takes up a lot more time. It draws it out. Your assets that would pass by beneficiary, if there's a beneficiary assignment, it's private. All that wealth transfers and it's private. It's a private transaction. Mm-hmm. Goes through probate. That's a court document. It can be subject to public view and things like that. So there are a lot of other reasons not to, taxes, big part of that with probate. Beneficiary assignment, you get stepped up tax basis. And when we talk about beneficiary assignments, we're really talking about investment accounts, retirement accounts, 401ks, IRAs, Roth IRAs, and non-qualified accounts, TODs, transfer on death. Mm-hmm. So now the other thing about a will that viewers need to be aware of is, like I said earlier, beneficiary assignments, rare is the case that a judge overturns a beneficiary mm-hmm. assignment. Wills can be challenged.
And that's something I bet, especially too, if there's a bunch of different kids or whatnot, and
it can get hairy. Yeah.
Want to get more than their fair share.
Exactly. So, but it also saves cost. There are some varying statistics out there, but when things pass through probate, the executor can typically take a fee. There are other expenses associated with going through probate. This can save you sometimes estimated somewhere between 3% and 8% of the inherited account value by not sending it.
A lot. I mean,
it varies. It varies, but these things add up.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a $1 million+ account, that could be tens of thousands of dollars right there that could just easily be passed down, but lost due to just not doing TOD or something. I mean,
and it's very simple. I mean, most of the time so think about it in two parts. The first part of the beneficiary assignment is the account owner making the assignment. If something happens to me, this is going to my wife. If something happens to me and my wife, this is going to our son, as a contingent beneficiary. So mm-hmm. you have primary beneficiaries, then you have contingent beneficiaries. I would encourage everybody out there to check their beneficiary assignment on their 401ks, their IRAs, any type of retirement account you have out there. You need to check and make sure it's.
I feel like especially too after big life events like the birth of a child or after marriage or divorce, because I know there's been some examples where clients have been married 2 or 3 different times and they go to check it and it's their first wife and they're on their third wife. And if they die, the first wife's going to get stuck with the. Yeah,
I've actually seen that happen.
Oh goodness!
And so it happens. People forget, and it's like I said, it's law. So it passes.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense
according to the assignment. So
now, kind of moving forward with the process of what we do at Woodard and Company here, and just when a beneficiary gets that call mm-hmm. or whatnot, can you just kind of describe what the process is for us here?
Sure.
And maybe what beneficiaries should be doing and whatnot.
Yeah. It's obviously a difficult time for the beneficiaries when this typically loved one passes or close friend passes. And so what generally happens with us is we get a call from beneficiary, could be the executor of the account, and notifying us of our late client's passing. And then typically what happens is on our side, and probably more information than our viewers want to know, but the account freezes actually. And when I say freezes, what I mean is the trading. Trading stops. So the account is frozen in its positions as of the date of death, and then the the account beneficiaries will, one of them, typically the executor or executrix, will produce a death certificate. We'll need a copy of the death certificate. And the paperwork's relatively simple. After that, if there's more than one beneficiary, maybe there's two, and it's 50-50, the account gets split. We set up two accounts in the name of the beneficiary. So, for example, let's say that there's a non-qualified investment account. Let's say it's $500,000, two children. This is the remaining spouse. Two children are left to inherit it. The remaining spouse passes away. Now the two children inherit this non-qualified brokerage account 50-50. So they each get $250,000. We would set up a non-qualified brokerage account for child number one, another one for child number two. We send the documents. We clear in custody through Fidelity, so we send the documents up to Fidelity along with the death certificates, or the death certificate, and then then Fidelity will split the assets, step up the cost basis, all the gains, step up to the date of death. That's a huge tax benefit, especially if you have low cost basis.
Oh goodness, because that's something you'd have to be paying
that's
taxes on.
That's a whole nother podcast
everything.
right there. Yeah, that's a great tax benefit for your kids, and then the children inherit these assets, and then it's in their name, and they can do with it as they please. So the process, I'll be honest with you, other than requiring the copy of the death certificate, process is very similar to just setting up a new account.
Okay.
It's very similar, and it's very quick. It will take as long as we need to with a client to get them through the hump, but the actual process, the paperwork, very simple.
So what would you say for tips for beneficiaries and also account owners coming forward, just so they're ready for this time when it comes? What would you recommend steps to be taken just to make sure?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would definitely let your account beneficiaries know where your money is held. We manage the money for clients. We custody and clear through Fidelity. So we hold our assets at Fidelity that we manage for clients. The bank, you want to let them know which banks you use. And so that would be one thing I would do. The other thing I would do is it really is important to check your beneficiary assignments, and including your will, your powers of attorney, all these estate documents, your durable power of attorney, your healthcare power of attorney, all these things. You really need to check over them about every 10 years. If just because think about all the things in life that change over the course of 10 years. And so 10 years is a good benchmark, to go back and review those documents and make sure everything is how you would like for it to be as far as when things pass to the people, the loved ones that you want it to pass to when you die.
Gotcha. That makes sense, and that's great. And that's actually something we've created here at Woodard and Company. It's called the Wealth Transfer Guide, and it's something we've sent out to all clients. But if anyone watching this would like to have a copy of it, we'll mail it to you. Just shoot us an email at podcast@WCAMG.com. But it kind of goes into what you were talking about here. Just talks about the essential steps, and this is mainly for the account owners, just so they can prepare what steps to look into for preparing, getting things. And also it has just key information with estates and immediate actions to do after their passing, and then it allows for you to put in personal information like those banks and your Social Security and everything. So this is something that you'd want to have in a pretty stable area, just so no one
safe
else can,
deposit box or safe. And oh, by the way, if you do have a safe deposit box at the bank, make sure your executor or your beneficiaries know where the key is.
Yes, that's a good point. That's
So
kind of hard to get
passwords.
Password. And that's why it has sections in there for passwords, and also definitions too, because there's so many different definitions. It can be a little take up a lot.
That's a great document right there. A great organization tool. One other thing I would mention too that account owners can do, they've, especially as you get older in life, we all are getting older, right? Nobody's getting younger, unfortunately. But what you can do is as you're putting into place your estate plan, you're going to want to whoever this person is, and you know who it is for you, your executor maybe, or your oldest child or whatever. One thing that I see a lot of that's overlooked, the most common overlooked component of estate planning, is putting somebody as a joint owner on a checking account with the client while they're living. And so what I mean by that is you've got a situation where all your assets are going to pass by beneficiary assignment when you pass, and that's great. But like I mentioned earlier, those accounts are frozen. Those assets are frozen until they transfer into the beneficiary's names. Well, sometimes that can take a month or 2 months or 6 months. It depends. Every situation's unique. Mm-hmm. Well, if the executor, for example, is also a joint owner on a bank account with the client,
there's no freeze period, right?
There's no freeze period because that bank account, now it doesn't need to have a huge dollar amount in it, but there needs to be enough money in there to keep the house open while you're settling that. Pay the power bills. You got to pay a funeral home.
Mm-hmm. Things that you don't really think about, but those costs can add up. And
they come looking for their money. And they're nice, but you got to pay them. They did their job, and so you got to pay them. But if you were going to pay them out of your inherited assets, or if you expect your children to pay them out of their inherited assets, well, that's fine. But it may take some time to get those assets in their name, and that could cause some bottleneck problems with bills, keeping the house open, keeping the power turned on, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I would definitely, typically what I see or what we see here at Woodard and Company is the executor will also be on a joint account. Maybe they keep whatever, $10,000, $30,000, $40,000 in that account, and it's just for those things, just to keep the ball rolling.
That makes sense. But just to round up here, do you have any personal experiences you would like to share here that you've had with clients or anything of that sort going through this process?
Yeah, I can tell you this: the processes that go the smoothest and the quickest are the ones where the client, the account owner, let their beneficiaries know where the accounts were. Didn't necessarily have to tell them how much they were getting or anything like that, but basically where to go find the assets. Mm-hmm. Those are the best scenarios, and those go the smoothest. Unfortunately, the ones that typically are the most difficult are the ones where kids don't know. I mean, and I say kids because majority of them are adult children, but they just don't know. They do not know where to go, and they're waiting on statements to come in from all these different financial organizations so they can figure out, oh, here's a fidelity statement. I wonder if mom and dad had an account there. You don't want that.
No, and that's the last thing you want to be dealing with when you're grieving through the loss of a loved one, is having to wait. And
contingent beneficiaries, right?
Okay.
This is important too. I've only seen it twice. I've been here for 22 years. Only seen this happen twice, where all adults, the clients and the beneficiary, it was a joint account in both cases. Car accidents, the mom and the dad both died in the car accidents, and the contingent beneficiary inherited the account. And so that's that. A lot of times we think, contingent beneficiary, I just don't need to worry about that. Well,
you never know.
It's 1 in a million, but it happens. It happens, and so nobody, you're going to know exactly how you want your money to go when you pass, and so you are the best person to do that, not a judge in a courtroom.
Yeah, very much so. That's great. Thank you. And I think this is beneficial to everyone. It's something. Death is.
It's certain.
It's certain. Yeah.
It's sad. It's sad. It's certain, and there's a process for those that are that are left behind.
Yeah.
And we try to make it as seamless as possible.
So that's great. So just to wrap things up here, we'll do John's pick of the week, and then we thank Todd for coming in.
Sure, glad to be here.
Always great. So this week it is a book that I've been a fan of. I've read a couple years ago. It's called The Man's Search for Meaning. It's written by Viktor Frankl. It sold over 16 million copies. It's pretty well known, but it's a novel that's written as nonfiction done by a Holocaust survivor, and it's his experiences throughout the Holocaust. And some of it's a little it's rough to read through. Some of it, just hearing about all that. But then he talks about just the purpose of life, finding purpose in life, no matter where you are, what your situation is. And that's kind of something we're talking about, death and everything here. And that's what he realizes, that death is just for them is imminent, but death is just something that is to come, but it's not something to despair. And it makes the reader, for me personally, just kind of think about what a blessing things are, and kind of put into comparison when you think things are really bad in life, they could be worse. This guy lived through one of the worst atrocities ever committed to humankind, and he still found meaning behind his existence and things. I mean, to be talking about just looking forward to that little bit of food that they get, or the little bit of time and a little bit of laughter here and there, and he made it through and lived until he wrote the book. I don't remember when he exactly died, but I mean he lived until his 90s and everything. Yeah. Wow. So it's a great book. It just helps put things into perspective, because that's something in this day and age with social media and whatnot, it's easy to just kind of let your mind run on things. The grass is always greener and everything, and this kind of helps you build a better perspective on things.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
Yeah.
Very
Anyways.
good. Hey, we're always happy to answer any questions about these topics, and so give us a call.
Yes, thank you. Yes, and please, any questions you have, just give us a call, shoot us an email at podcast@WCAMG.com. We thank you for listening, as always. And just to finish things off, as typical, our motto: always buy quality and diversify. The information provided in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It does not constitute investment advice, a recommendation to buy or sell securities, or an offer or solicitation of advisory services. It does not take into account your individual financial situation, objectives, or needs. Investments involve risk, including the potential loss of principal, and past performance is no guarantee of future results. Woodard and Company Asset Management Group is a registered investment advisor with the SEC. Please consult your financial advisor or tax professional before making any investment decisions.